Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host. Let's get into this. I'm gonna give a little disclaimer. I'm back cleaning, so yeah. Pray for me. Not against me. But no alien talk, no periodic table talk this evening. However, this is a download that actually I kept getting this message, okay? So remember how I kept telling you guys sometimes I have to make the great distinction between messages, downloads, and confirmations that are for me and what's to be shared on the podcast, right? So over the past 2 weeks, I literally kept getting the same message. And I knew that it wasn't just for me. So the creator told me to go ahead and share. So you can absolutely lose your gifts, right? We, a few months ago, had a discussion about people can go mad, right? They can lose their mind when they are disobedient and they are not following or answering the call. We even discussed ascension and descension. We've had several conversations about choosing the path of your higher and lower self. But this is more so of a warning, okay? We even warned people who are practicing dark arts against us, who, they don't believe that they can lose their gifts. They don't believe that things can backfire because they are operating at that high frequency. They're at the highest of the totem pole for the low frequency energies, right? We went into that as well. But this is a warning for not just the people practicing dark arts, but the people who are gifted, the people who are on the right side of things. God has given you your gifts for a reason, okay? There are timelines associated with everything, right? And we went into that. This is the purpose of the portals being open and closed, people having to be removed from our lives, people being added to our lives, us having our understanding and our horizons brought in. All of this is connected to the ascension, right? But then when you start to go into your actual gifts, let's just first say there's a difference, right? You have gifts that are to help you reach your destiny, and then you have gifts that are just your birthright. And then sometimes those two may collide, right? They can definitely work in tandem. But when you start going over the different reasons why you may not be using your gifts, it's usually connected to some like sort of portal or time restraint. It may be connected to some environment that you need to get out of. It varies, right? It's just going to vary. But all I've been hearing for the past few weeks, literally, is to not let your gifts go to waste. So I'm going to also spread that message because I'm getting it from people from all different walks, right? Religious, spiritual, people who are not even woke. They're still of the world, but they're just like, you don't have these gifts for nothing. So I knew that was the creator's way of telling me to tap in and start using my gifts. And then I knew that it was God's way of also having me get up here and have this conversation, because a lot of people are losing faith. A lot of people don't have faith. A lot of people don't know how to connect with the creator via their gifts, right? Now, the creator has all these different creations, right? We have animals and insects. We have plants and trees. And then we have the elements. I mean, even though the elements are essentially separate, right, from this whole dimension, it connects us and plugs us into different realms, different timelines. It's separate, but if you know, right? These are all God's creations, and we are just higher up on the totem pole. I mean, even mountains and different rock sediments have their place and their purpose for existence, right? But once you are aware of the presence of the Creator, okay, because this starts to fall into different categories. Like some people, they're just existing and they're just here because they're not spiritually mature enough yet to have evolved to the point where they can make things shift in the heavens for them, because that is the authority the Creator has given them, right? When you are aware, when you know you have certain gifts, you now carry a particular responsibility to make sure that the deeds of all of us, even if it's not all of us, whoever you're in the immediate environment of, whoever is attracted to you, whoever you're attracted to, whoever you come across, you are responsible for holding up your frequency as well as those who are connected to you in the spiritual realm. I'm not saying you're responsible for people all in all, but spiritually, it's your job to remind people of their spiritual responsibilities once you become aware, okay, of your gifts, the Creator, and what it is that you need to be doing. Again, the animals and the plants and the trees and the elements and the mountains, they all play their role, but we have a higher responsibility. And, your gifts are no different, right? In fact, your gifts are the direct connection to the Creator. It's how He connects with us personally. He uses His other creations now to help us connect with others. This is how, people bond. This is how people get to find out, what they have in connection with other people, other things that are in existence on this timeline with us, right? So in the interim, we must protect, appreciate, and use our gifts, right? I kept getting this message, so I knew that it was important for everyone to kind of, hear this. So we will not only lose our gifts, but there are ill effects for not using them, right? And this is how bitter, resentful, aggressive energies get to dwell in people who are high vibrational, that are not fighting for the Creator. So remember those people that we talked about that carry these entities, or these entities that have gained enough strength and power to gain a vessel, right? These entities get to coexist with us simply because people are not using their gifts, so they get to extract that energy, okay? They get to extract that energy from you, and because you're not fighting on the right side of things, or because you're not doing what the Creator is wanting you to do, it's easier for them to extract from you, okay? Now, there's a difference. Like, when you are aggressive and high vibrational because you're fighting, it's basically a depiction of what's going on in the ethers. You're a warrior up there, so it manifests itself down into the 3D. You're a warrior here, okay? This is different from people who are just warriors in the spirit, but not for God. Like, they're standing up and fighting for all the wrong things. Everything but God. It's different. But this is how those energies get to survive. Just knowing that someone who God wants to do something in particular, God has given you a job and you're not doing it, after a certain amount of time, you get to not only have this portal close, like I said, you lose those gifts, and you start experiencing things like loss in all areas of your life, psychosis, and when I say loss in all areas, I mean all areas. You start to lose yourself physically, emotionally. You start losing friends. You start losing money. I mean, usually it starts with either your mental, your sexual drive, your creative drive, or your worldly possessions. One of those would be first. Whichever you deem as most valuable, God will take away. Okay? And then it'll just start to trickle down to all the other areas. You'll start seeing this really odd shift and rise in attacks. You will start having some of the wildest spiritual exchanges. Now, if this thing can be reversed, don't ask me. I'm not sure. That's something you have to go to the Creator with. That depends on how on fire you are for the Creator. That depends on how serious you are, how appreciative you are, how patient and kind you are, how much good karma you've put out there. And all of this, all of these things, again, like I said, it varies. It's gonna depend on what it is that you need to be doing. All of this stuff is contingent upon your desire and your obedience. Because some people want to do it, but they're scared, right? So them not doing it is not like they're being disobedient. It's just that they've been strapped with the spirit of fear, right? So this is why it just depends. God knows our heart. God knows all of his creations. He's omnipresent, of course. He understands us. He realizes that we all have this different, type of warfare going on. He gave it to us. So you have to understand that none of us are owed any of this, okay? Although it is our birthright, although it is our, duty, I would say, to have these things occur, it's still your job to make sure that you're appreciative, not only to keep those things coming in, but to avoid losing any more, to avoid any of the karma of you not using your gifts to spill over to anyone in your bloodline. Because if it's your birthright, if it's your destiny, then you are the one that the God not only created to get this job done, it's your job for all of the things to stop and start, all of the new things to start with you, all of the old things to stop with you. It's your job to see it through. And everyone doesn't really have the full understanding of what that may mean. So you have to go back to the Creator and ask him exactly what it is that, you need to be doing. None of us are, 1000% sure. You're always going to have these questions where you probably second guess yourself. And this is normal, all right? But it is your job to make sure that the new manifestations are able to occur because you have done your part. And this conversation can go on and on and on, but let's just end it here. I do love y'all. I hope y'all are enjoying your weekend. I hope you are drinking your water, eating your fruit and vegetables, and sipping on your own tea because it is free. All right. Love y'all.